Hello, and welcome to the Footy Podcast. To benefit Here's Help. Here's Help is a nonprofit comprehensive rehabilitation and educational agency that's been providing treatment services in South Florida since 1968. For more information on Here's Help or Footy's podcast, you can contact us at 305-685-8201. If you need help or know someone who has a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you can call our admissions office at 305-685-8201, extension 224. If you'd like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. Now, here's Footy.
Welcome to the Here's Help show. I'm Footy. I'm your host. And, I'm also the carnival barker. I'm also the beggar. I'm many things.
Chief cook and bottle washer.
Yeah, whatever comes up, it ends up with me. The Ron Hersey, of course, is here with us, and our trusted aide.
The man behind the scenes.
Yeah, there he is. And we're really, the show is mostly centered around Here's Help and what we do at Here's Help, but it's also centered around our radio careers, experiences, things that have happened, people that have come along. And we're right now we're in sort of a funny limbo because we have people who listen to the show for one reason, and we have people listen to the show for another reason. And right now, we're in the middle of those two reasons, okay?
And a lot of people with a lot of opinions on what we should be talking about.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a very good question. We should be talking about both things. We should be talking about where the Here's Help show fits in Here's Help and with what Here's Help represents and what our purpose is. And, we're a substance abuse program first of all, residential and outpatient and in-home, and we have been forever. But on the other hand, we have our entertainment product, which is us. And
such as it is.
Well, yeah, but we get more response for the entertainment product than we do for the go to the doctor product.
Well, when you're on the air as long as you've been in one particular station, in one particular market, there are a lot of folks who you were a big part of their growing up, and a big part of their lives, and when you're on the radio,
now I'm going to be with them to the grave.
Yeah, right.
Now I'm going to die with them.
When you're on the air for a long time and people kind of adopt you as part of their daily routine, they think of you as part of the family. So then when you're no longer on, they kind of miss you. So they like reminiscing about the old days.
Yeah, I was thinking it's funny you mention that because I was thinking about a wingding. Wingding, if you don't know, is our big. We used to have a big festival every year in Hollywood Young Circle and raised a lot of money and had a lot of fun. And our grand marshal was really Dan Marino. He was the one that was there all the time and always involved. But we developed an audience that followed the whole process that we live with, which is, we do our work at Here's Help, we do our work on the radio, we do our work at Y100, we do our work here and there and wherever it is. And sometimes people get a little, the lines get crossed. It's not clear. So in the interest of clarity, we really are multi-dimensional. We do, if you use the big brush, we do two things. We entertain people and have fun and tell jokes and screw around. And then we have messages and projects that we do that are important to our constituents and the community at large. Mm-hmm. So, we have our substance abuse program, which has been here forever, and then we have our bunch of clowns running around, and you know, we are kind of clowns in some ways, but then there's a serious side to the whole thing. And Here's Help. Here's Help is an outgrowth of those two things. For those people who don't know about Here's Help, we have a residential program at 151st Street and Northwest 27th Avenue. And by residential, we mean people that live there. And it's all males, young males, and who have had difficulties with substance abuse and other things in that genre. We can't cure cancer, you know. We can't change eyeballs, but that's what we do. And then in the other end of the thing, we have our entertainment wing, I guess you'd call it, you know, like the wing ding and going over there and all the people going and the great memories and the great things that have happened. And I'll tell you, and you know, Dan, he's like the Grand Marshal. He's there, you know. Now we're shutting it down because he's run his course. But and I'll never forget the Mean Mike, the wrestler that we had. He was very popular with us. Really, we got a kick out of laughing at him. He got beat up so bad one time he had to go to the hospital.
Wow.
Because we had the wrestling ring, we had the stage, we had the band shell, we had the concert. That whole winging was a three-ring circus. Really, there was no you know, formula.
And it amazed me, having been at the very first wingding, which I think went for like 3 hours.
Yeah, over at
the Pembroke Lakes Mall, which wasn't even open yet.
Yeah.
Which worked perfectly for our purposes because we had a big vacant parking lot that we could use. But the fact that over the years it grew from like a 3-hour event to a 2-day event.
Oh.
And we had no entertainment that I recall. At
You
the very
were
first, yeah, I was the Grand Marshal for the first one, but then it grew into this huge thing, 2-day festival of the Hollywood Band Shell and all the musical entertainment. And we talked in the last podcast about it became such a showcase.
Destiny's Child.
It became such a showcase for artists. People would call you and volunteer. Yeah,
they were really hot.
They wanted to be a part of the wingding because they knew it was such a great. Exposure for them.
We never paid anybody anything.
Yeah.
We barely paid for the electric.
Well, everybody was nice because, you know,
the cause. You know.
They were bought into the cause and they were more than happy to donate their, as we used to say, their time, talent, and treasures.
Yeah, we really didn't have to solicit. You know, after you do a few of them, people couldn't wait to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, how come you never invite me? How come you didn't take me? Well, you're invited. You come on, come on the stage right now. I don't care. And it was very helpful. But the main thing was we raised a lot of money. And that money came to Here's Help, and you know, our continuing efforts in the world of substance abuse and how it destroys lives and people and all types of things. So that's really our mission.
And speaking of growing, talking about Here's Help, I remember when we did that first wingding, the only thing on this campus was like this little house, right on the corner. There was one building. It wasn't really a campus. It was just like a
we've
brick
grown
and mortar.
quite a bit.
Right. And now not only do you have this incredible kitchen, thanks to Pepe Badillo, who donated that. And it's you know, I cook a little bit, and I would love to get in there. I mean, that is top shelf,
our kitchen,
totally professional kitchen. And then just recently the Dan Marino athletic field, which was recently christened just a couple of years ago. Dorms. There's a Miami-Dade County School classroom here. It's incredible.
There's two of them, and special ed teachers.
Right. And not only is the campus here, but you also have off-campus properties and classes and automotive and things. So it's grown too.
Yeah, we have. Well, you're right. We have our automotive project with the folks up at Broward County, but we also have people that, how can I explain this, that have like grown along with us. Like in South Dade,
Mhm.
they have a whole different operation, but they're still part of us, and they do what we do, and we do get a lot done. We're working now. In fact, I'm a little concerned about it. Is that we have a project that we want to get off the ground, and it's taken forever because of the environment that we're in now. You can't get anything done because nobody wants everything, and that project we should be it should be up and running by now, but it's not, and we're waiting it out, and we're counting our shells and trying to get people to let us go, take the reins off so we can start running again. 'Cause
Mhm.
the world is just so
Yeah.
so
Everything's on hold.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything is backwards. It's like, oh God, we have but we have a nice property. We're lucky. We have most of the projects like ours, they're in like an old apartment building, or they're in a
Mhm.
motel or something. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Spencer
Yeah,
knows.
he knows.
He's been there.
So but we have our own property, which we developed the property. We have a ball field. We have basketball. We have schools. We have all types of the culinary. We have all types of things that are available that are not necessarily available elsewhere.
Horticulture.
And only that's because we have a lot of really great supporters.
Right.
And through the years, Y100, of course, being a very big one. They've been with us forever. They still are. So that helps us raise the money to do the different projects. Look at what we're sitting in now. We have a fairly state-of-the-art studio here.
Right. And next door, the music school that was the inventory of musical instruments, thanks to the
Yeah, I
Estefans.
gotta have a talk with that guy because he leaves a lot of. He's not the neatest guy in the world. Yeah, we'll tell him to get very neat. Tell him it's from me. Okay. Okay. All right. So, but anyway, so we got into sort of a controversy last week, and that was we were telling a story about the Wingding and Dan Marino and the Mean Mike, the wrestler, and Dan. Oh, I did. I didn't talk about Mean Mike.
We talked about Mike Van Driver, but we didn't get to Mean Mike.
Oh, we didn't get to Mean Mike. Okay. All right. So Mean Mike, he's like a local wrestler. He puts on shows, and they has the wrestling thing. No, that's his occupation. Like he'll go to Market Park and they have a big event. They'll hire him to put on some wrestling shows, and he has his whole shtick. Like all those wrestlers, they have that kind of how do you say it? They're acting, and
They all have a persona.
Yeah, persona. Yeah. That's the word I'm looking for. His persona was like he's going to get killed any minute now. Anyway, but he's a good guy, and he volunteered, and you notice I speak about him in the past tense. I'll tell you why in a minute. But anyway, so the Wingding, our big event. It's like building blocks. You add things. So we added Mean Mike, and Mean Mike came later because Kim Bocamper, a couple of the other Dolphins, Jim Kick, rest in peace. They would come and they would put on like fake wrestling shows. Although Bo, you had to watch him because. Yeah, he would kind of like glaze over and throw the guy into the thing.
Well, they are competitors,
Yeah,
know?
when you get to professional trained athletes,
Right.
people don't realize what they're like. I mean, they try to behave, but if you click that switch,
Right.
they'll throw you right in the garbage can and laugh and walk away. And
Kim has a heart of gold. He's like such a sweetheart. But,
yeah, he's great.
But
great,
he's
great
like
guy.
any other athlete.
AJ Dewey, a lot of the old time, they come around and
Right.
we have a good time.
I
It's a lot of fun.
Kim's a great guy.
But anyway, so we have this one where Dan is there, and he was on the crutches still, I believe. And we went to the wrestling ring, and then Bo was there, and me and Mike was. His shtick was to run around and scream in people's faces, and like in the wrestlers, and sweat flying and this kind of nonsense. He was really a good guy, but he could really turn it on. And what would happen is, like when you get a Kim Camper or an AJ Dewey or whoever it happens to be, they don't have the switch. Like, in other words, their switch is already off. And if you ran up to AJ or Jim Kick or any of those guys, they would glaze over. They don't go like, it's a fun shtick. They glaze over and look at you like, who do you think you're talking to?
Right.
And they kind of go into Neverland. And Bo was a big boy. Yeah. Kim Camper. Nicest guy you ever want to meet. Never piss him off. Anyway, so we're there, and we go in the ring, and me and Mike's running around, and he's making a big scene because Dan Marino showed up, and what are we trying to pull, and all this. And Dan is glazing over, like he's not used to people talking to him that way.
Right.
And if he is, he talks back. He doesn't just let you yell at him and spray saliva. And he's they're professional, trained, physically attuned, and
they've been trained there since they were kids. I mean, their whole life has been nothing but competition.
Oh yeah, they you can see when they're going into Neverland.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So anyway, me and Mike starts a big ruckus over there, and I'm going, Mike, settle down here. He's jumping in Dan's face, and I'm going like, Mike, come here. I grab him by the shirt and go, that's not a good idea, okay? Because I can see Dan already like getting glazed over.
Right.
Like, who is this punk think he's doing? And I pull him back over the other side. So I grabbed Dan. I said, nah, this is all part of the act. Don't worry about it. And he's looking at me like, is that guy with you? And I go, well, kind of. He's not really with me. You're with me. He's with the other people, but around us. And then he can't stop looking at him. Like, he's got that glaze. So Dan finally figures out that he cannot kill him in the ring in front of all these witnesses. No, this guy's a tough guy. So don't ever think they're not.
No.
And they're physically fit, and they're ready to go, and they, they're trained, and they're professional athletes. They're not like you and me lifting a weight once every 22 years.
Yeah.
These guys are honed to these.
Mm-hmm.
You go play. I played. Tossed the ball with Dan, and it's like you better be careful. He don't snap into the fourth quarter and throw a rocket and kill you. I mean, he really could.
Right.
And so we're there, and he's running around, and I'm trying to explain to Dan. I go, it's an act. He's a wrestler. It's a wrestling, and he just keeps looking past me and looking at him. And I'm going, this is not going to end well at all. I could see this is a big mistake. So then Dan turns around and he walks over to Bo. And he tells him a few things. Because you got to remember, like in their world, he's the quarterback.
Right.
And
he's the boss.
Everyone else is their enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's us against the world.
Mm-hmm.
They go into stadiums with 50, 60, 70,000 people who hate them. and they just stand there smirking and like, pointing fingers at people and everything. That professional football in general, but professional football, people don't realize how physical it is, how strong these guys are, how determined they are, how relentless they are. They're quite a breed. So
I'll never forget the first time I went to an NFL game and stood on the sidelines next to the team. When they snap the ball, the ground moves. I mean, it's
collision.
and it's like listening to like car accidents happening all around you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you hear the acrylic on the helmet snapping, and
Yeah.
the grunting. If you're right, the first time I was standing, they used to let us stand actually past the players' bench on the sideline.
Right.
This is back in the day. And the first time I was standing there and the lines collided, I jumped back like 10 feet. I thought, my God, there's a cement truck loose on the field, you know.
Yeah.
It's a very, very, very eye-opening experience.
I'll agree.
So anyway, we're starting to get things going and everything, and Dan goes over to Bo, and those guys are used to, like, Dan's the quarterback.
He's calling a play.
Well, but you do what he tells you.
Yeah. He's
Well,
the boss.
I watched him go over there. I knew exactly what he was doing, and he was basically going, "See that little skinny guy over there?" He says, "Take him out." And I said, "Oh God!" I thought me and Mike would be dead, which he was close to. And they ring the bell for the fake wrestling, but Bo ain't faking it. And he's like, ding, ding, ding. And he goes, Mike, part of his shtick was to like run up and confront you.
Mm-hmm. Get in your face.
Yeah, and Mike is basically like 5'4", and 132 pounds. Nice guy. I love the guy. He did a lot for us. He donated all kinds of stuff. He's terrific until that day. And then Bo walks over to him. And Mike started going into his act. Like he was jumping and yelling at Bo. What are you going to do? Bo is not interpreting this as like a show.
Right.
He's interpreting as, who is this punk getting in my face and spraying me with saliva while he's yelling and screaming? And so to make a long story short, when me and Mike got out of the hospital, we sent them a card. I mean, I'm not kidding.
Oh, man.
The things that used to go on at that thing. But anyway, it was really tough. This is Ron Hersey. This is the punk intern we have. No, he's actually a good guy.
And by the way, congratulations to Spencer. He's graduating the program.
Yeah. And Spence, what are you going to be going to do? You got to come over to an actual microphone.
I'm going to the YATC in about a week.
Meaning the Youth Automotive Training Center? Yeah. And that's put on, that's maintained by the the great car dealer, and you're going to go in there and you're going to get training, and you're going to be, what's your goal?
Yeah. I mean, I've already been to school for that, but I want to learn new things.
More,
kind
yeah.
of, yeah.
Yeah, but the technology is
I wanna
always.
get like all my certifications.
Yeah. They've had, I'm sure it's the Moran Foundation, so they have everything you could ever dream
like
of.
I'm out-
And we want to thank them for all the years of support that they have given us, and going back to Jim, and then of course the family and everyone. The Moran Foundation, we're partners with them at the school. They give us scholarships for our guys to go to that school. It's one of the things about Here's Help while we're on it. There's a lot of opportunities here.
Yeah,
it's not just you come and sit around in an AA meeting. There's more. There's learning. There's training. There's jobs. There's all types of things that people go through. Because our guys, they're young.
Yeah.
We do have a sort of an older segment now, but they're still pretty young, and they need a restart, I guess would be the way.
I know I did. Yeah.
Yeah, you needed 2 restarts. We had to get extra battery for you, Spencer. So
Yeah.
no, you did great, and you graduated. Now you're going on to thanks to the Moran Foundation, the Moran family, and we appreciate them and all the help they've given us through the years. And I mean, this is going on like 20-something years that they have been contributing to us, and it's very, very important. That's one of the things about Here's Help that people, they probably throw us in the same box. Not that there's anything wrong with that box, but we have a lot of capabilities that a lot of people don't have, you know. We have our own studios. We have music studios. We have our athletic fields. We have horticulture.
Culinary.
We have a garden to table program. We have the Moran Foundation. You can go to school and get a degree or a certification in automotive. Now we're working on doing another project we'll tell you about a little sooner. But we try, because our age group is they're fairly young in the sense that life's in front of them, you know, and they need to find a way to get back on the train and get it going. That's kind of what we do. And this is not a jail, it's a campus. It's a giant school for the school of life. We teach life skills. We teach where you're going to go, what you're going to do, how you're going to do that, how you're going to get this, you know, how you're going to get a job.
You guys also incorporated me into like the peer counseling thing, which is great. Getting all the training and be able to work with you know, like the clinical side of it, and basically do what
what Spencer's talking about. Yeah,
done, you know.
What Spencer's talking about is he went into the peer counseling program to become a peer counselor, and South Florida Providers is the agency that sort of supervises the whole thing. They encouraged us to do that because, you know, he's not only will help to save him, but he will then in turn help to save other people. So. All right, we're just about out of time. I want to thank you all for listening to us this week. We'll be back. I'm Footy. We'll be back next week. This is Ron Hersey. Ron, you got any closing thoughts here? Grab the mic from this lunatic.
I wanted to sort of go back on what you were talking about Here's Help and about the students here. And the phrase that popped into my mind that you use a lot is recovery through education.
Right.
That's what it's all about. A lot of these young men have either quit school or been thrown out of school, and they've for the majority of them haven't finished their education, and so wisely, that's why you have the Dade County School classroom here, is because that first step towards recovery through education obviously is getting some kind of diploma, finishing your education, and that's that first building block to building a career.
Yeah, the other thing is our age group. We've opened it up to some older people, but it's under 30, let's say that.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is they've squandered a lot of their opportunities and squandered a lot of so rather than just sit around with an NA book, not that there's anything wrong with that, because we have NA and AA too, but we give them a different type of training to advance on in life so that they're better equipped for life. They're not one-dimensional, in other words, like to sit around all day with the NA book, you know.
Right. Well, like you've pointed out many times.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right. But what you've pointed out many times is when you're involved in the drug world, it becomes an occupation. It's a full-time job. And so
he's talking about the using part.
You know, it's either trying to get drugs or using drugs, so that's your full-time job. And so then what you term the replacement life is you replace those 12 hours a day that you would normally spend in the drug world. You replace those 12 hours with a replacement life, and you set those goals, you know, get that job.
Yeah, you can't just stop. You have to do something else.
Right, you have to replace those 12 hours with something.
Yeah, and I had an incident when I was going through my trial, and it really became very eye-opening for me. And that was when the cops stopped shooting at me. And I was running at about 700 miles an hour. I could have easily won every Olympic in the last 10 years. And
Well, bullets whizzing past your head is an inspiration.
You hear
to run.
them.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
you hear them. But the,
I'm glad they missed.
yeah, but it's just so mine. Well, they didn't always miss. I mean, I know guys that
Yeah.
you know, because this is back then they were pretty quick on the trigger there.
Right.
But
It was the joke, the warning shot, bow, halt.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much it. But anyway, I was fortunate enough to go from that into a very, very good, credible program at the Meadowbrook Hospital, and I spent 2 years there, and that really launched me on another path. 'Cause, I was not really on a very good one there for a while. But I got it. You know what helped me? Let me give everybody a tip. Get a girlfriend. Yeah, get a girlfriend. They'll take the punk out of you quick. You get it? And you know, plus what's wrong with girls? You know, it's a good commodity, and they're everywhere. They can, you know. So, but then what I did, which I had to do, I had to leave. I had to move.
Right.
They were not going to let me stay in the area. They couldn't get me while I was under the auspices of the program. You know, I was a woman named Dr. Sears. I was under her care. But the minute I got away from her, after I was there 2 years, there they were. Like, you think you're going to get away with this now? So I had to get out of Dodge. And that's how I ended up in Miami. I figured, hey, let's go to the beach.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. All right. That's it for us. This is the Here's Help show, and this is our weekly podcast. I'm Footy. This is Ron Hersey. And that is the wonderful Spencer, who is our producer. And he also is now embarked on some training that will help him help other people in this situation, and we know he's going to succeed, and we know a lot of guys are going to succeed, and that's the point of it. Anyway, so I'm Footy. This has been the Here's Help show. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Footy Podcast. To benefit, here's help. For more information about the Footy Podcast or Here's Help, contact us at 305-685-8201. If you need help or know someone who has a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you can call our admissions office at 305-685-8201, extension 224. If you'd like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. The executive producer of the Footy Podcast is Sam Zarco, COO of Here's Help.